Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to the final refrain. Very excited. We are starting our top 8 of the adaptive tournament. Should be some good ones here. Only 4 games this week, but they are all going to be bangers. Let's get into our first one. This is going to be down on the lower left quarter of the bracket. We've got Stormstrong and Fabulosing. Winner of this will be going against the winner of Karen Fox and Mooseman Dude. First off, we've got Stormstrong. Again, you've been seeing him a lot with Kagi stuff. Winner of Kagi Live at KFC. Always a staple around the adaptive scene. And we've got Fabulosing. You could say just about the same of her. Lots of Kagi accolades here. Both great players, and really love watching both of these two play. It's been very fun. Really excited about the decks they are bringing here as well. So let's get into those. Stormstrong. Changing it up here, bringing a Worlds Collide deck. This is Fairhand the Unnerving. Pretty interesting one here. Triple Igor is always fun, always makes for interesting choices of what you are keeping versus what you are willing to discard. We've got the Desania in there for some archive hate, double Tau for some archiving. Shadow's also doing archiving with the double hidden stash. I got the hit and run. Not a whole lot of synergy with that hit and run, it doesn't look like, unless you want to get that Igor or, Desania or something back into hand. But this Untamed is doing some stuff. So you've got Key Charge, Mimicry, Double Regrowth, Flaxia, Unnatural Selection, Pose Pixie, also a very interesting one. We'll see if that's going to be very impactful against Fabulosing's deck, but looks like a fun one. Definitely not a bad deck. A little bit light on the creature control, but definitely going to be an interesting one for adaptive. This is a very handcrafty deck. You kind of got to know what we're looking for here. Fabulosing on the other side has a GR deck, Alma o Pondopodro, the Forgotten. Rock Hurling Giant, Tyler's Crowcag. Pretty standard Brobnar here. You've got the Memorialize the Fallen, Soul Bomb. You've got your Brick Nasty. You've got the Burn the Stockpile. So plenty of Amber Control. Double Ornar Skullface, pretty good with all the discard pips you're seeing in Equidon there. We've got Azure Tooth with... Do we have anything to go with those? Not really a ton. Kind of an interesting one there. But again, a lot of the discard pips. And then Shopping Spree is always a fun one. Soul Exchange is a fun one. Forbidden Tome. Star Alliance, though. We've got the double body with the Rector Technician Lee. We've got Rogue Operations, Essence Entangler. This feels like not a crazy combo deck. It kind of just looks like something that is just going to do its thing. You're just going to... Not a lot of efficiency or anything. It's just kind of playing creatures and trying to use them and stuff. Does have the Sandhopper. Maybe we get some interesting stuff out of that, especially with those discard pips. Probably get a lot more value out of all those discard pips with that Sandhopper. Helmsman Spears is always an interesting one. It does have the near future lens, so that's going to get you some efficiency there. But let's go ahead and look at our matchup screen here. So again, decent Amber control, especially from Fabulosing's side, whereas Stormstrong not sitting on as much of that, even with the logos and shadows. It's just the Eddy and then just a little bit of stealing in the shadows. So Stormstrong really going to be relying on that Mimicry, most likely, in that deck, or just kind of getting enough momentum to start with. So looks like they're ready. Let's go ahead and get into our match. Oh, and you know what? I totally forgot. Need my names and decks. Okay, so I'm just going to do this on the fly here because I forgot to grab them before. We've got Fabulosing on top, bringing Alma o Pondopadro. I've forgotten. Okay, both players thankfully taking some time to check out the decks here while we get situated. Bottom player, we've got, not me, Stormstrong on Fairhand the Unnerving. and set our scores to 0, and we are ready to go. Unless I got booted already. Okay, so a little confusion over there. Looks like Stormstrong made a adaptive best of 1 game, but we are gonna do the regular best of 3. This just makes it so you can keep doing the rematch without having to make a new lobby, which is kind of nice. Okay, looks like we've got Fabulous and going first. So GR. Already got the timer messing things up. Scared I misspelled unnerving. Now it's got the 2 R's in there. Okay, so Fabulous thing starting off here with a Rock Hurling Giant and some nice pips on that one with the draw pip and the capture. So getting to keep a hand of 7 there. And very, very nice creature control, especially against this pretty, I say pretty, very squishy Worlds Collide lineup. Nothing bigger than 4 power here, except for Yancey Gang. Yancey Gang is more. Selwyn the Fence coming down, but Hawk coming down as well. I don't think there's too many. You do have the near future lens, so interesting call on playing the Hawk, but getting lots out of hand here. Getting rid of the Bad Penny, getting rid of the Inky Gloom, and getting an Archive. So that is a full hand dumped for Stormstrong. Very strong start. Will it be enough, though? This GR looks like it's going to kind of just run over this Worlds Collide, but could be proven wrong. We'll see. There's a lot of efficiency in this Worlds Collide, unlike the GR. The GR is just going to be playing from hand, trying to handcraft. Out Negotiate is going to flip that hidden stash to the bottom of the deck, steal 1. We do see a Scrap Scrounger coming down for capture pip there and a discard pip. Ledger Domain as well coming down for the Amber. And then, yeah, very, very nice use of those discard pips, discarding a Headhunter there to kill off the Selwyn the Fence. Here comes the Igor. Let's see if he can find 3 of them. Discards Unnatural Selection and Harmonia. Very, very interesting. Unnatural Selection seems like it could be a really important card in this matchup, but he's going full gas on the logos here. We've got 2 Tau Tau Vapors. We've got another Igor. We've got the 3rd Igor coming down. This is one of those amazing logos turns where you do so much and accomplish so little. Lots of dig, Fabulosing says. We get the Seismo Entangler coming down, Eddie, and the Desania for no value. Not a whole lot of archiving on Fabulosing side here. But yeah, that is a lot of dig. But also, this Rock Hurling Giant is ready to just tear through this lineup. So the question is, was it enough? And again, a little bit interested to see what the play is here with this Worlds Collide deck. If it's kind of hiding something that I'm not seeing or what, but in the moment doesn't seem like the most amazing thing. Ooh, Shopping Spree with that Ornar Skullface in there is going to take out the Eddie. So some nice discard synergy there. Again, lots of scrap effects here, and also going to kill something with all those discarded Brobnar cards, right? Each Brobnar card discarded is going to give you value off this Rock Hurling Giant. So we see that board just getting torn apart by this Brobnar. But we are not in a Brobnar turn. That's important. Oh, hey, Quick Draw, what's up? Have we heard? Okay, Murph is doing the intro. Cool. I want to make sure everything was okay over there. That would have been sad if we had to bounce between 2 games at once. Never done it before, so it'd be fun to try, but Sandhopper coming down as well for Fabulosing. Very, very strong card there, especially with that Hawk being gone. But we do see the Kymor Eclipse. I guess that's a little bit of the other creature control. Fire up my alt. I made an alt once, a long time ago. I don't remember any of it. Near Future Lens coming down here for Fabulosing. First Star Alliance turn on her side here. Don't have the Helms and Spears anymore, but don't think that's the hugest deal here. Does discard the Generous Offer. Not too much Amber to steal yet, but we got the Yancy Gang and the Simon down, which means I can see Stormstrong going for a couple more Shadows turns here if this board doesn't get contested. And my guess is then this is a lot of archived Untamed, which again makes it that much more interesting to see what was discarded there. But probably Flaxia, probably the Regrowth, some of those really big burst cards. Retro Technician Lee coming down though, getting that Rock Hurling Giant back. Wait, how'd that come back? I thought Rock Hurling Giant got thrown. Is there another discard card? I thought it got shuffled back in by the Kymore. How did that get? Oh, Scout Pete is able to discard it from the top. Okay, so cool. Some really nice top of deck manipulation going on there. Always fun with Starlines when you can do that, especially with the Near Future Lens. But that is check for Fabulosing for key 1. Do see the Inky Gloom, so going to stop all reaping next turn for Fabulosing. But I guess this is a Shadow's turn, so that means we are going to be able to stop the key here with the Yancy Gang. Simon gets to do some fun stuff, some hand clogging here. I think since nothing can reap, you probably just bounce. That's tough. That's a tough call. Scout Pete or a Corporal Bridger probably, but even the Lee. Oh, gonna be able to kill the Lee with a hit and run. Very nice. I was gonna say even the Lee can fight the Simon. All these dumb Star Alliance creatures have play fight reap, so they can just fight the Simon to get their effect off without reaping. But most likely with that Inky Gloom, Fabulosing not going back into Star Alliance here anyways. Still lots of Brobnar to see, so with that Rock Hurling Giant down as well, I could see just a lot of Brobnar either hitting the board or the discard for some destruction. And then Scout Pete getting thrown back on top of the deck. All right, Fabulous, and going into Equidon here. Discarding Forbidden Tome, so not wanting Stormstrong to get that additional value as well, since both players are haunted right now. Saying this deck has enough draw so far from what we saw with those Igors. Okay, we see that pipped up Scrap Scrounger coming down, getting that capture pip and a discard pip there. Discard Memorialize the Fallen, which is going to give another 4 damage off that Rock Hurling Giant. So this Rock Hurling Giant coming down early is really, really big for this deck. We'll see. I don't know that it would make like a huge difference, except that it makes it just that much more dominant the longer this thing is on the board, because there's so many ways to get value out of it, out of this deck. Not a ton of discard pips. I mean, it has like 6, but lots of other sneaky ways to discard cards. It's very nice. Scout Pete coming back down, going to be able to discard that Fiery Jark off the top, and we see the survey there. Belligerent Guard also coming down with the discard pip. So discard a lot of our Amber control, but again, from this Worlds Collide deck, that is not a huge issue to see that gone at the moment. And then we get to Sandhopper, that Rock Hurling Giant, for an extra draw and capture. But didn't find anything, so ended the turn. We see kind of a mix there of Brobnar and Star Alliance. So we'll see what Fabulosing decides to do. Got the Ornar on top, so that means it does not actually get you the discard effect from the Rock Hurling Giant. Gemco Vendor as well, so kind of probably about a 2-2-2 hand for Fabulosing right now. Stormstrong, though, needs to start getting some pressure, dealing with this board and also gaining some Amber. So yeah, Igor, so this is one that was, I believe, Kymore Eclipsed. And then the second one that was Kymore Eclipsed. See a Twin Bolt coming down, and then the second one's going to be able to take out those 2 Star Alliance creatures. Blaze a Daughter for some extra draw. Seismo for Equidon, I would expect. Yep. And passes. So gets 2 amber, does give up the first key there to Fabulosing. I might get the... Even with the no reaping, Fabulosing going back into Equidon here, gonna try and get that gem coat vendor down to have some stealing. Probably gonna fight off this daughter, and then you can just, well, maybe you don't need to fight off the daughter because you have the Sandhopper. You might be able to get some discards on Brobnar cards, and there you go. There's a Blunderboard going to the Gemco vendor. Gonna take out that daughter. Discarding the Soul Exchange there. It's not really doing a whole lot for you. So I feel like I'm trying to fix my posture. I really need a mic boom arm thingy. It's like the last piece. All right, Sandhopper is going to pick up the Scrap Scrounger. Interesting. Playing down a body, and then the Scrap Scrounger coming down, so that body gonna capture even more amber. So Stormstrong gonna really struggle to actually maintain amber in this game. But again, this is the Untamed stuff, I think. Except Stormstrong flipped the deck, so if that's all the like key charge and regrowths and stuff, you just lost your chance to do any of those regrow things. So you kind of have to go find everything again. But this is not exactly a board you're going to be able to Flaxia for amber, but the Harmonia wouldn't be too bad. I do think that key charge is going to be pretty important for sneaking keys past all of this capture. Once this engine kind of gets going, it's a lot. Stormstrong does have the Hawk though, so can slowly kind of chip away at these artifacts, try and keep their value to a minimum, but also need to be able to deal with this board. And like we said, about the only real board control is going to be that unnatural selection. We'll see if we see that here. Fog Bank, so no fighting. Lots of controlling, either fighting or reaping from Stormstrong's deck here, but let's see if that's actually enough. Just being able to play cards gets Fabulosing a lot of value. Blazing Mustic Mermoot, going to be able to take out that body, get some of that captured amber back. Plays the Feathered Shaman, and then a regrowth just for the amber. Oh, being able to get back the Igor. All right. Fabulosing quickly goes into Brobnar here. Deciding on the sequence of this turn, though. Trying to think. She's not haunted anymore, so can't do... I mean, doesn't get as much value from the Lash Out or Memorialize. Discarding the Brick Nasty, so can't fight this turn, so that Brick Nasty actually not really getting a whole lot of value, but once it gets down on in this game, I feel like it stays there, so interesting call, but does get rid of that Mustic Mermook. Removing any taxing, discarding a Tyler's Crocag to get rid of the Feathered Shaman, make sure this board doesn't get warded. A little bit scarier. Gonna Memorialize just to make sure that Stormstrong is very clear that he will never get Amber in this game. And then that Soul Bomb coming down, Rock Hurling Giant Reaping, and Skullface Reaping. So up to 4 Amber. You can see game 3 of this being a little grindy, but we'll see how it goes. And I'm not keeping too much track of the draws we're seeing on Fabulosing's side, but we do have Lash Out and Headhunter there, so pretty decent chance of another Brobnar turn coming. Forbidden Tome also in hand here. Use the near future lens to play the Strength from Diversity. I was trying to figure out where that came from, but there's not much amber to capture, so it's kind of just an extra amber pip and a draw. Gonna hit and run to get that So an Igor back to hand. Does hawk the near future lens, so slows that down, but I think this Sandhopper, well, I mean, you got the Scrap Scrounger, so that can just bring it back in one turn, but go on Star Alliance instead here. I think at this point you just want to keep pressuring check more than you want to kind of handcraft. You don't have to worry about that as much right now. We do have the Survey coming down. I discard Blunderboard, gets the Rogue Operations to steal. There's not really Amber to steal. Corporal Bridger, and then the Quartermaster Body. I guess that was one Amber maybe. Body having nothing to capture. Scrap Scrounger going to reap and be able to bring back that near future lens. Swapping it with Headhunter. Interesting note, this effect when swapping Headhunter with the card in your discard pile, that does not count as discarding for the Rock Hurling Giant, so no 4 damage being dealt there. And then this near future lens being in Brobnar, or no, it is in Star Alliance. This thing always looks wrong on here, but it is in Star Alliance, so being able to get that back down. Stormstrong going back into Logos here. Igor's coming back out. So I think Stormstrong's plan here is kind of just to archive all of the Untamed, would be my guess. So looking for things like Eddie, looking for the Tau Vapors, but I think it's just going to be too slow. But will be very interesting to see in game 3 if that can kind of fire off fast enough. That will pace this deck, but this deck has so much Amber control. I guess if you got the key charge, then the Amber control doesn't matter quite so much, but you kind of only get one shot with this. You have to have enough of a lead or be close enough to actually winning to kind of get to across the finish line. So I think it's going to be really tough for this Worlds Collide deck. Fabulosing going into Star Alliance, Retro Technician Lee coming down ready. Gonna bring back Brick Nasty or Blunderbore, maybe the Scout Pete. Yeah, gonna discard the top of it with the Scout Pete. Right now on top is Burn the Stockpile. Yeah. And then we're gonna see the Fortune Reverser under that. It's not bad to throw that on the Eddie. If you want to, but we'll see if she's got any other draw. Gonna fight the Eddie off instead with the body. Get that captured Amber. Palette coming down. This board getting kind of out of hand here. There's the Fortune Reverser just going down on the Igor. And then the Corporal Bridger going to allow for the use of the Gemco Vendor to steal one as well. Going up to 12 Amber. It's looking pretty rough for game 1 for Stormstrong here. But I think this is a pretty uneven deck matchup. So a lot of this is probably going to come down to that game 3. But can't count out game 2 and what Fabulosing might be able to do with this. So we'll just see. Unnatural Selection here could be really good. You could regrowth into the Mustic to deal with, or to stop, or deal with a little bit of this Amber. But again, that Eddie is about the only other Amber control you have without having Yancey Gang on the board. I guess there's Mimicry. Could Mimicry like the Burden Stockpile or the Memorialize here? Memorialize is, I mean, it's a decent amount of Amber. If you have the Unnatural Selection too, then Memorializes a lot of Amber destroyed. So could be a pretty nice reset here if Stormstrong has it, but again, kind of wondering at what point you pull the archives, because I would assume that's in the archives as well, that Mimicry. Instead, Stormstrong going Logos here, gonna keep going with the Tau Vapors, the archiving train here, getting up to 7 in the archives, drawing some cards. Does play that Twin Bolt again, gonna be able to get rid of probably Body and Lee. We'll see. There's a lot of targets here. Could also fight Igors into some stuff. Yep, we are gonna see the Body and Lee go here. Igor fighting into the Scrap Scrounger. Second Igor may just fight into the guard. And gonna be able to stop any reaping again here with the Logos Call, so well, stop reaping in one house. I would assume you go probably Star Alliance here. see, we do know what's on top again. Yep, so Starline's the call. Do we know what's on top? Shopping Spree. Ooh, Shopping Spree is tough. That's a very nice card to have on top of the deck for Fabulosing here. Gemcoat's going to steal one. So Fabulosing starting the turn in check, now going up to 7. Playing Legerdemain to return the Gemcoat vendor back to hand. So it does give back some captured amber there. Plays an Azure Tooth, kind of an interesting one, but very good considering how much capture and how sticky this board has been. This could shift a lot of amber across the board for Fabulosing to essentially steal. There's a shopping spree though. Soul Exchange, Ornate, or Ornar Skullface. Interesting, discards the Gemcoat as well. Decides not to play that. Still has the Sandhopper. Wonder what you're looking for here. So I feel like we got to see some of the cool things with the Rock Hurling Giant, but I kind of wonder what else this deck is sort of hiding in terms of what it can do. Generous offer coming down. Gonna steal some more. Which without the Eddy and with the deck flipped is probably gonna be game unless Stormstrong's deck can actually key cheat 3 times in one turn. Which feels unlikely. We'll see. Helmsman Spears comes down. There's an Azure Tooth. Check at 11 for Fabulosing. Stormstrong at 0 keys and 3 amber. Needs to forge all 3 keys and or stop 11 amber here. Looking through the options, you do have the generous offer for a mimicry. It gets you down to 9, and then if you find, ooh, it just goes for the concede there. All right. Grab the logs. We have to remember to grab the logs. It's such a running joke now, but it's... Oh, no. Yeah, the rematch didn't work anyways. Bummer. Okay, but they got a new one up fast. Saw on there, also have Quick Draw and JDG playing their match right now. Good chance that one will take a little bit longer than this one, so we might head over there or go raid Fudginator, who is covering that one when this is over, but we'll see. This will be going to game 3, it looks like, unless something pretty amazing happens here. Okay, so switching first player here. GR deck's supposed to be going first. Good to go. So again, we did see that early rock throwing giant did a lot to maintain some board control for Fabulosing. I don't know if it's the only reason things went really well for them game 1, but Stormstrong I'm sure would love to find that here. But Fabulosing already mulliganing. Let's see, going down to 5. Stormstrong not mulliganing here. Into Starlights and getting the Helmsman Spears down. So that is also kind of a scary one. There's the Inky Gloom, so not going to be able to reap with it. And then a Hidden Stash. So Fabulosing needs to find an answer to this quick. There are some answers for it. You got hit and run, you got double twin bolt. You do have the stopping reaping. So it's not a done deal, but this is definitely scary, and we got several more Starlands creatures coming down already. So I mean, this board just reaping could do a number against Fabulosing here. Got a Shadow's Call. There's a Pestering Blow. So one more thing to try and stop this, but that's not going to be enough because the Starlands can just fight that Simon off the board and then reap with the spears. So we are probably going to see some gross stuff happening here from Stormstrong side. The GR deck just going to do even more things that are tough for this deck to answer. Okay, Palik is going to fight off the Simon, and then we're going to see the reap from spears there. Not having anything else to play, though, is kind of interesting. I guess we'll find out. You do get to choose how many you discard here with spears. Discards 4, including Crocag, Lash Out, Soul Bomb, and Memorialize. Gonna get Scout Pete, a little bit more top of deck filtering. It looks like it does not discard the top of deck there and just reaps out with the rest. So only getting to 3 amber, but 5 creatures on board, some that Fabulosing definitely has to deal with. We get the Wild Wormhole into Mimicry. Can hit the Lash Out. That is enough. You're not haunted, so it's only killing one thing, but that is enough to take out the Helmsman Spears. We'll see, though. Okay, so yeah, does do that. I was going to say, if she also has the Twin Bolt in hand, then you could do some other options there. But Eddie comes down and keep that archiving going. Probably see a pretty similar strategy here from Fabulosing, just trying to archive all that Untamed. The question will be if it gets pulled faster, but I think this getting hit by Wild Wormhole, while it did give her a chance to kill the spears, not something you want to see getting played or discarded randomly. You want to get that in your archives for a bigger play. Back to Stormstrong here. Again, I think in this matchup, the burden of creature control and stuff is definitely on the Worlds Collide, so very easy to just also use this Starlines board, but if you want to keep cycling, maybe get yourself haunted, the Out-Negotiate will help that. So gonna flip the Pestering Blow to the bottom and get a steal there. Soul Exchange coming down. Return the topmost creature. All right, so could get the Helmsman Spears back on the board. Gonna give that Simon back to Fabulosing. Let's see, is this only one player? Yeah, you only get to choose one player. So decides instead to just get rid of the Eddie. Then we got the generous offer here, probably hitting one of these bodies, discarding the Brick Nasty. Goes for the Scout Pete, okay. And then a Reap with Palik, going up to 8. This is gonna be a lot of chains. This is tough. Hit and run coming down. Kymor Eclipse. Okay, so Fabulous and getting that board finally taken care of, getting that Simon back down. But first key going to Stormstrong here. I need to get my scores up. Sorry about that. So again, this is game 2. Fabulous and taking game 1. Now on the Worlds Collide deck, we do see that Fortune Reverser coming down on Simon, just making him one of the most useless creatures now in the game. Not quite as bad as Toad, but about as close to it as you can be. Fabulosing instead going Logos here, going to get these Igors going. Haven't seen any of those yet, so Taus and Igors could be hitting the board here. We lose an Igor and Twin Bolt, so probably seeing 3 more Logos cards on that first Igor. That's always rough, but do get the second Igor at least. Dig in for those Taus. Does discard the Dysania like we saw. Not really much of an issue here for this matchup. There's not really too many archives happening. Does get the Daughter, but no Tau Vapors again. It's kind of rough. You really need that for handcrafting just to get enough speed to even have a shot of keeping up with this. But what it's going to be really interesting in game 3 is how this Logos could just start a game with like Igor, Daughter, Tau, Eddie. Like that is a very realistic way this game could start in game 3. And if that happens, probably doesn't even take as many chains for this GR deck to just fall behind real fast. So that is one thing to consider when you're doing the chain bidding. Do see the near future lens coming down on Stormstrong's side, along with Retro Technician Lee being able to get that rock hurling giant out with a captured amber there. And the near future lens, of course. Strength from Diversity, gonna capture nothing else because there's nothing else to capture. Corporal Bridger coming down. Is able to get the check here because of the play effect on Corporal Bridger, letting that Gemco vendor reap. Yeah. Fabulous, and going into Shadows has that Hawk ready to go for the near future lens. Does get a little bit of amber for that as well. Hidden Stash going to do some more archiving, but been a lot of Shadows turns already. Yeah, so can't have too many cards left. Pretty rough, but been doing pretty well on the handcrafting. Has 8 cards in hand, 3 in archives, and it's got to be almost all untamed at this point. Stormstrong, however, getting key 2 there. Going back into Star Alliance with this ready Retro Technician Lee. Gonna do some damage here. Corporal Bridger as well, gonna be able to do some stuff. Rogue Operations just for the insult, gonna steal 2 more here. Hitting Ornar Skullface and Azure Tooth. Get the Reap with Lee. Let's see what you bring back here. Haven't seen the Scrap Scrounger yet, so you can't kind of get that set up to get your near future lens back. Yeah, Helmsman Spears is one that is going to bring some pressure at least. Fabulous Inc. does have a board to be able to deal with it, but it again just kind of presents another thing you have to answer versus pushing your own agenda here. So we do see the Untamed call here. This should be a pretty big turn, but the question is it enough? But the fact that Stormstrong did not get the check here is an opening. It is a chance for Fabulous Inc. to at least get a little bit caught up. We are going to see that unnatural selection coming out. Unfortunately, the board is not quite set up for the Harmonia to do damage here. Phylaxia is going to come down though. Mustic Murmoot going to take out, takes out the Lee. Post Pixie's coming down. We get a regrowth for an Igor. And regrowth for an Eddie. There's the key charge to get that key 1. Stormstrong going back into Star Alliance has that ready. Spears, even though a lot of other things got taken out, the Spears remains, and so this should still be a pretty decent turn. Except how much? Don't have too much Star Alliance left to see. I don't think. Yeah, there's a decent amount of cards. We do have the Survey here. Going to discard the Scrap Scrounger. Helmsman Spheres is going to reap, shuffle some cards. We lose a Shopping Spree, Sandhopper, Belligerent Guard, Ledger Domain, Ornar Skullface, Fiery Jargon, Headhunter, and then that Ornar Skullface, of course, going to take out the Post Pixies. Just to make sure if there is a chance to steal or capture, it is actually capturing Fabulous Inc.'s Amber. Some creatures coming back here. Quartermaster Bodies have nothing to capture because Fabulous Inc. has no Amber yet. Essence Entangler going down on the Feathered Shaman. 9 Amber here for Stormstrong. So going to have to be the Eddie play here to keep Fabulous Inc. in this. We finally see one of those Tautau Vapors getting an archive. Actually, don't know if it's going to be enough. Okay, second Tao Tao gets you the extra draw. So you have a chance of playing Tao Tao 3 times, but you would have to play Tao Tao 3 times to actually stop the key here. So I think this is going to be it. We see the Twin Bolt there. Igor is doing some stuff. Desania, Seismo, Eddie. Archive's only going up to 3 here, though. Probably not going to be able to stop the key. Yeah, and so that is... Oh, we've got the Mustic Murmuk. So it is a key cost of 10. So alive one more turn, but I don't really see too much of a route out of this for Fabulosing. I think from this situation, you can kind of see this deck needs to get key 1 pretty fast at least. So you can kind of do your big Untamed Burst for key 2, and then you at least have the chance to sort of be pressuring key 3 to force this deck to do some different stuff. We're just going to see a fight into the Eddy there. And then the Mustic Murmuk as well, just to make that key cost as low as possible. And there is game 2 going to Stormstrong. Not super surprising based on the decks we're seeing here, but this is where game 3 gets real interesting. Oops. Okay, so fast bid of 6 here for Stormstrong. Again, I expect this probably going up into the teens. GR deck is going first, so that you can kind of almost count that as 1 chain less than what you're actually bidding. That's how a lot of people would see it. All right, we're at 8 and 9 chains now. I think we saw a little bit more potential, and again, there is that chance that the Worlds Collide deck just gets the Logos draw early and just lays out a huge board of Logos and is able to really pressure from that position from a start. But all you have to do is wipe it, memorialize it, and the game is kind of back to 0, especially if there was not a key cheat. Unorthodox Woodpecker is quite the name for a bot, but bot it is, and as a bot it is gone. Fabulosing going to 12, and Stormstrong passing on that. Make sure we get... Yeah, Fabulosing going first here. We do get a pretty fast mulligan from Stormstrong. And Fabulosing, of course, finding the rock hurling giant. Any hope Stormstrong had of getting a big board out to begin with are now completely crushed, as this thing will just annihilate it. Helmsman Spears coming down now as well. So Stormstrong needs an answer. Very, very nice starting draw here. Getting 3 cards of the same house. Not bad when you're on 4-card hands. Fabulous. And finding the Seismo Entangler. Does find a Tao Tao, so already getting those archives up a bit bigger and gonna have a chance to maybe slow this down. But if you don't find a Twin Bolt here, you're in a bit of trouble, because this Helmsman Spears, this Star Alliance is just gonna start going to work. And again, with the discards from Spears, you're going to be able to see this Rock Hurling Giant take out this Daughter. So this is not the start you want to see if you're Stormstrong here. Helmsman Spears does just that. Discards Fortune Reverser, Headhunter, and Brick Nasty. Finding the Near Future Lens for some extra efficiency to make those chains matter even less. Body Reaping, Palic Reaping. Yeah, so that's how it goes with these higher difference matchups. The chains can make for a little bit more swingy games, but it's tough. And 12 is I think because of things like the Memorialize, I would have been tempted to go above 12. It's not over, but Stormstrong probably needs to see Unnatural Selection or Kymor here pretty fast, or at least the Twin Bolts. Find an Igor, so that could find something here. Again, we could see the Mimicry do something different than what we've seen the first two games. It didn't really have as big of impact. There's the Twin Bolt, so going to be able to get rid of the Spears at least. Second target is a little tough. It's going to be the Palic, okay. And then we're going to stop Star Alliance from reaping with that Seismo Entangler, but that's our whole turn. That's a little rough. You got rid of the Spears. But yeah, Fabulous thing, probably sitting on almost a whole hand of Equidon here. We've got Out Negotiate, Soul Exchange. Near Future Lens is going to play the Scout Pete from the top. Sees Essence Entangler, probably discards Essence Entangler. Oh, keeps it on top. Interesting. So planning to go back into Star Alliance next turn, wants all the pips possible, or there's some combo with Essence Entangler that we haven't seen yet. I guess you could just discard it to give this Amber over here. Out Negotiate, stealing one by throwing Pestering Blow back on the bottom of Stormstrong's deck. Belligerent Guard, going to give Stormstrong a draw here, but this is rough. This is looking real rough for Stormstrong. And Belligerent Guard just going to take out that Igor. Getting to check for key one. Down to 7 chains. Fabulosing in a very strong position here, but we do see the Untamed call. So having to pull that out a little early. Let's see if it is enough here. So this is probably going to be the Unnatural Selection. Get back some of this captured Amber. Deal with this board a little bit. We'll see what else. Okay, there's the Unnatural. Yep, getting rid of Rock Hurling Giant, the 2 bodies. Getting that captured Amber back. Harmonia coming down for value. Post Pixies coming down for value. Fog Bank. So Stormstrong getting to check. Would need another Amber to build a key charge. Oh no, does get the last key charge with the regrowth here. Or Amber. So it is possible to do a key charge here if he has it. Regrowth's an Igor. There's no key charge. This is probably going to just be a lot of captured Amber. Or blown up Amber. Ooh, Mimicry. Copy Out Negotiate and throw the Fortune Reverser back. So Fabulous thing getting taken off of check there. Pose Pixies is down. So that needs to be dealt with in order to do any capturing or stealing here. Does call Star Alliance. So might just have to fight this Pose Pixies off the board. Okay, instead we get Palic Reaping is going to just capture an Amber from the common supply here because of Pose Pixies. We do see that Essence Entangler getting discarded though. Near Future Lens. Sorry, Essence Entangler. How did the Ornar get discarded? Oh, these are all the things from the shopping spree. So lots of different discards there. Stormstrong does get key 1 here for 6 Amber. Still has the Post Pixies on the board. But Fabulosing on 8 Amber now. Stormstrong going into Logos, going to see if he can find that Eddie to at least tax this key. Discards Hawk and Bad Penny. So losing Hawk there is rough. That does leave this Near Future Lens on the board, but probably found that second Igor with this first one. There's a Tau Tau. Let's see, is that our third Igor or is that second? There's third Igor comes down. Grabbing another card, discarding Mustic Murmuk and Feathered Shaman. Twin Bolt Emission coming down, going to be able to take out that Comm Officer Palik, which is actually pretty important for keeping this Pose Pixie alive. Wild Wormholes into a Hidden Stash. So no Eddy here. Does hurt, but gets up to 6 Amber. If you don't flip the deck here, though, I think you're in a rough spot because that Memorialize is still possibly coming, and Pose Pixies does not stop Amber Destruction. Okay, and then we see the Equidon call on Seismo Entangler, so no Reaping for Equidon. Does get to check here, though, so we are seeing this Worlds Collide deck being able to do a little bit more, kind of finding stuff at the right times, but here's that Brobnar call. This could be brutal if this is that Memorialize, but I think you play the Memorialize before the Soul Bomb, and Stormstrong not at 7, so can't do the Burn the Stockpile either. Oh no, doesn't have the Post Pixies killed. Yeah, needed to discard that, needed to discard the Ornar to kill the Post Pixies. No steal means the key goes through. Yikes. And then we do see the Rogue Operations is on top, so it does have another chance to steal, but that's 2 keys down against a deck that has not played its key charge yet. I don't think it's got enough juice left to get the key charge very easily. There's our Eddy coming down, so Logos, so archiving that key charge. Man, that would be heartbreaking for Fabulosing if that's the play that kind of misses it, not killing that Post Pixies. You still get the Amber, so Fabulosing still gets the Amber for the steal. It just does not come from Stormstrong. Post Pixies is a very interesting card, but not one you see very often. Fabulosing going into Star Alliance here, though. Does have the Soul Bomb, so could just wipe this board. Yeah, that's probably what we're going to see. We got the Scout Pete going first here. Yeah, not going to discard that top because we know it's the Rogue Operations. That's going to steal 2. Lee comes out. You're still in a race here. Again, these archives, 3 untamed cards. One of them we basically know is key charge at this point. Make it pretty pretty scary. Okay, Rock Hurling Giant coming back. Gonna get a capture here. Get Stormstrong as low as possible. Getting to 9 Amber. We'll see. We'll see if Stormstrong can find it. You still need a decent amount, right? Going from 0 to 7. Shadow's Call here. Gonna just maybe try to slow things down a little bit. Kymor Eclipse, very nice. Shuffling those creatures back in so the Lee can't even bring them back. With the shuffle, Surveys now seeing something else there. Pestering Blow, Hidden Stash, Selwyn the Fence. So again, another archive, so that archive up to 4. And now there's less creatures, so the Flaxia has a better shot of getting value. This is very close. This is going to be a very close finish. So if you're Fabulosing here, it's tough. Not sure what's left. We've seen the Memorialize go. Still have the Burn the Stockpile, but that just does not help you against a key cheat. Walk off. Does go into Brobnar, though. Plays that Survey with the Near Future Lens from the top of the deck. Lash out. Discards Burn the Stockpile. Plays Blunderbore. Okay, does not get the check. I think... Oh, man. Fabulosing needed to get the check there. Because you do not have time to not pressure this. Stormstrong going untamed, though. Pulls the archive, so this is probably going to be the key charge. Walk off. Oh, man. 6, there's 7. Have to go through all the selections for unnatural selection, but that will be enough for the key charge. Wow, crazy, crazy game. Yeah, I had Fabulosing. Just a rough call there, missing the interaction with the post pixies. Could have been a pretty big change. But there you are. We've got our first top 4 player is going to be Stormstrong. So definitely showing his reputation here, getting back up to top 4 after winning the KFC live Kagi. So yeah, congrats, Fabulosing. Got pretty far here too. Both of these players doing great. Yeah. Fabulosing missing that. That one play I think was enough. Just a fun GR deck to play. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, that game 1 just looked like so much fun with the rock hurling giant. All right. I think I'm gonna take a look here and see where we're at on the other game. Probably pass us over to that. Let's see. Yep, they are still going, so we're gonna go ahead and we'll see if they allow. It's always a toss-up. Not every Twitch streamer allows the raids, but we'll see if they allow one here. But thank you all so much for watching. This has been the Final Frame top 8 match. Congrats to Stormstrong for getting the win there in very close final match, which looked like it was not going to be close both ways throughout the game, but then kind of getting that walk-off key charge win, always a good one. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time as we pass on over to game number 2 that is going on here. Thanks.